Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I'm running a little late. I'm here. Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy. Yes, I'm back finally. I've been out for 2 weeks. I had to be because I've been inundated with so many different things, anniversaries, and all of these different things coming up. And I just had to take a break. And I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Glad to see you. I hope you're glad to see me. But welcome to another edition of Choir Directors Academy. We're starting back on another journey of music. The topic on today will be about being a choir director and the things that you didn't know are required of us. Hey, Shanita, that's my cousin. Hey, Shanita. Things you didn't know that was a part of the job. You know, sometimes they tell us, they make it all exciting, almost like the Army. They make it exciting, to be a part of the Army, be all you can be in the Army, excuse the shadows, right? And then once you join the Army, then all of a sudden all of these things pop up and you sitting there going, wait, they didn't tell me, the recruiter didn't tell me this, they didn't tell me that. Well, it's the same thing when you're dealing with being a choir director. They don't tell you everything because you probably wouldn't take the job. But in this show, that's what we're going to discuss. And I've invited a lot of choir directors to come in and share their thoughts on what they've encountered, what they've done. So while you're at it, hit the like button and and the share button, whichever one you want to do. Those of you who are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and let your friends know that there is help on the way. There is help for all of us out there. It's amazing when you find out that you are not the only person that is out there doing this job. I appreciate so many of you signing on and liking the page and letting me know that you appreciate the Choir Directors Academy, because a lot of us are out there and we don't know really what to do. We're just freelancing, and it's hard when you're out there and you don't really know what to do and there's nobody there to really guide you and help you understand what is required of you. So I got a couple of days ago, I'm trying to find my feed here so I don't touch any buttons, because every time I do this, for some reason, I always hit the other side. That's not a pretty thing. Not that everything is not kosher. But anyway, a couple of days ago, I made a post about the duties of a choir director. And to my surprise, so many different people saw it, and they were just like sharing it like, oh my God, are you serious? It's amazing of the things that you have to do. And a lot of people don't know that. They just see us stand up before a group of people and we just do whatever it is that we do. And people are like, oh my God, whatever. But it's a whole lot more to what we do. It's a whole nother world. And a lot of people, I think they get frustrated when they find out, because, most people now there's a difference. Let me just preface this, first of all, by saying there is a difference between being a church choir director and one in the secular. Although there are some things that are the same. But with the secular, like if you were teaching at a college, or you're teaching at a school, or you're teaching at a community or whatever, there are some differences. I think that their jobs are more defined, because even though you are connected to them, but in a sense it's different when you're in a church choir, because most of the people who are dealing with the secular, the community, or college level, or school, they have degrees in that field. Hey, Don. Hey, Deirdre. They have degrees in that field. So a lot of things they get taught as they're going along in their applied sciences. And also, if you get a degree in music, you have to, you take the psychologies, the anthropologies, and, all of those different social sciences to help you learn how to deal with people. Whereas most people who take over of a church choir, in a smaller church, should I say, they basically get thrown into the role. They don't have any formal training. A lot of them do not even have formal musical training. They don't even know basic keyboard structure, identifying chords, simple chords, just the root, the triads. You know, we won't even get into the the sevenths and the ninths and the 13th. Just the basic triad and understanding what a minor chord is. They don't understand that. So you can imagine being thrown into something where you don't have the basic skills, and then also you're expected to do a superb job in something that you have not been trained for, which is part of the reason why I started the academy, because I had so many young people and even older people telling me that they, you know, it's like my pastor stuck me in this job and I really don't know what to do. So this show is kind of geared or dedicated to those who are working in the church choir. Of course, when you have a larger congregation and you have more, you have an expanded ministry, you still have things that you contend with, but when you have more people to work with, it's a little easier to a degree. You know, you still got to deal with folks and attitudes and stuff, but it's a little different because you have people to do the functions for you, play the instrument, you have assistant directors, you have a PR person, you have someone to do all of these different jobs. But when you're in a smaller church, and you have limited help or talented help, a lot of things you have to do you're on your own. And they generally, they don't tell you that. You know, it's just like you find this out on the job training, and it's frustrating. Because then a lot of times you don't have, I hate to say it, but a lot of times if you're not connected to the right people, a lot of things you won't get to know or understand. You won't have that person to take you under the wings and kind of show you the ropes a little bit. I had my mom, and I had like 3 other choir directors that I knew that took me under their arm, and kind of like almost like when you're training a child to walk or you're training them to do the potty. You have somebody right there like, no, don't do that. You know, don't approach it that way. Come from this angle. You know, don't do, you know, so I had somebody there. So I kind of, and even then with me having somebody right there walking me through the steps, I still had a level of frustration. Exactly. A mentor. Thank you, Deatrice. I had a level of frustration, and I had people that I could go to. So I can only imagine someone that's thrown into a role and you have no one. I was thinking, and I already went to that part about most people do not have a mentor or somebody. I have my notes, y'all. I got a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to try to run through this and keep this under 30 minutes. Most people, like I said, they don't have a mentor. They have to learn on their own. They're not told that they need to learn this subject. They're not told that they need to understand how to communicate. How can you communicate if you really don't understand what's going on? You know, you need to, you know, they don't tell you that you need exactly, Aaron, out of the frying pan. That is exactly what a lot of people say it's like. They don't tell you that you need a basic understanding of music. They don't tell you you need to be consistent. You know, some people, it's amazing to me that a lot of people, and you hear people say this all the time, and I converse with other directors, and they say most people get, you know, they do the frontline part right. You know, standing in front of people and telling them which way to go and giving signals, and some people don't give signals right, but that's a whole nother show. You know, somebody asked me to do a show on directing. How do you direct? You know, and a lot of people say that most people are not consistent. Well, okay, I'm just going to throw this in there and I'm going to shut down on that part because that's a whole nother show I got to do. But I believe some people are consistent with how they give signals. Don Mayberry has seen me direct, so he knows me well. I'm not consistent at all when I direct. Sometimes I direct, I'm just standing there clapping my hands. Or, you know, sometimes I'm demonstrative, or sometimes I'm doing all kinds of things. But my primary thing is that you have to communicate what you're doing. You know, sometimes I communicate through my hands. Sometimes I actually speak the words out. It all depends. The main thing is that you have to communicate clearly your direction. Just like you see them on the runway when they're directing the planes, or you see the cop directing, he tell you come here, stop. You have people, your choir has to learn you. And like I say, that's a whole nother show, and I don't want to really get into that. Like, exactly, Aaron, it's a case-by-case scenario. Sometimes it depends on the song and the feeling of it. Exactly. You know, and I'm one of those people that's like a ballet dancer. I kind of go with the flow. You know, however it is, that's how it is. But that's a whole nother show. I don't want to get into that. Most of the time, hey, Melissa, most of the time people see the visible side. and I wrote some things down, which my picture, that was my whole point of putting the picture out there, to kind of give people an understanding, because, you know, I talk to a lot of them, and they get sad, because it's like, well, I didn't know I had to do all of this. This is not part of the job. Yes, it is. This is the behind the scenes part. You know, everybody sees this part. Conductor. They see you, you know, the coordinator. They know if you have a musical department, you got to coordinate everything. If you have a musical, you're the one that's putting everything together. You selecting the songs, you picking the soloists, you setting up the theme. You know, I basically, you know, I'm one of those directors. I don't like every song sounding alike. I like variety. So if I'm doing a musical, I may pick something African, then I may pick some Caribbean, then I got something that's more classical, then I'm over here in the gospel, then I'm back over here with the, you know, bossa nova, and I'm all over the place. Because that's what a musical is for. I love variety, and I think music comes in all different forms. Depending on the arrangement, all the chords are the same. It's just how you arrange it and what you're doing with it. It determines, because those same chords can make somebody depressed, and those same chords can also make somebody happy, and then those same chords can also send somebody off somewhere that they don't need to be. Okay, so it all depends on you. But musician, you know, as a choir director, they see that part, and it looks so cool to see a director playing, and they got a mic in front of them, and they're singing. You know, that's the cool part that everybody sees. Role model. You got all these little kids. Exactly, Shanita, you have to love what you're doing. You got all of the people admiring you and say, oh, you're so great, you're so this, you know that. And a lot of people see that part, you know, oh my God, you're wonderful, whatever. You're a leader in the church. You know, if you think about it, and I'm talking, you know, I'm really focusing in on church choir directors. If you think about it, when you go to a visiting church, after the pastor and first lady, who's the next person? The music minister, the minister of music, the choir director. That's the next person that they look at. So a lot of people see that, and it's like, oh my God, I want to do that. That is so cool. Yeah, okay, wait. Publicist. If you have something going on, you're the one that they call on. You got any, you know, if you're at the church, any of our visitors have an announcement, well, then naturally the minister of music generally stands, oh, we got this musical coming up, blah, 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 blah. They usually do that. Some cases you're entertaining. You shouldn't be entertaining, but in some cases, choir directors are entertainers. Okay, that's all. You're a diplomat. You know, a lot of times you come in, you know, if they know you and you're a choir director and your choir is pretty good, when you walk in the door, they recognize you. Oh my God, come up to the front. You're like, oh, no, really. And a lot of people think that's so cool because, you know, most people have to come in and try to find a seat. But if you're, you know, whoever, you know, wherever you are in whatever parts of town, because everybody has their own celebrity status or celebrity group in their town. When you walk in, you know, most of the time I wait till everything is already done and everybody's going, and then I slide in the back seat, because I know they put me up front and make me work. And I'm not, you know, I just want to sit back and enjoy the festivities like everybody else. But they do that, and people see that, and they like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. Okay, let me go to the next section. That's the visible side. That's the glory side. Hey, Hatcher Roy. Oh, you joined me today, Hatcher. Good to see you. Now, this is the part you didn't know. Recruiter. A lot of people don't think that they're supposed to recruit choir members, but that's part of your job. You know, else you're going to have the same 7 or 6 people that you've been dealing with all the time. It's your job. You can't depend on the choir members to recruit people. They're not going to do that. That's up to you. If you want the choir to grow, you got to recruit the people and make it palatable, except, you know, you got to make it exciting. That's your job as a recruiter. You know how it is when they're recruiting you for a job. You got to do the same thing. Repairmen, some people say, sometimes you do have to do repairs. I mean, I've had to break out a sewing kit and help sew on some buttons. I'm serious. You sit there like, you know, they run up to you the last one, my button popped. And you look like, well, what you want me to do? And then it's like, you know, repairman can be over a car or whatever, but I mean, you know, you a seamstress or a tailor. You like, what, really? You know, they come to you with all their little issues. I hate to say this, but sometimes you're a babysitter. Sometimes you got choir members that come in just like babies. And you sitting there like, I thought you was 25. And they, you know, they come in pouting, and you got to sit there and kind of, not mind you, you got all your issues going on. But you got to sit there and rock a lullaby to help you get to, really? That's why, and I had one choir that said, I didn't know I had to do all of that. These are grown people. That's part of the job. Babysitter, fundraiser, custodian. I heard one of the directors laugh. He said, oh, I felt that thing. I'm a custodian. I'm going around doing I mean, it's like, wait a minute, this ain't my job, but it's part of your job. As a leader, that's part of your job. When you lead choir rehearsal, and folks, I do it. God bless them. I love them. But sometimes, yeah, it does. Beatrice, it really is. Hatcher know what I'm talking about? Sometimes you lead choir rehearsal and you go to the choir stand and you see stuff like shoes, tissue, and you got to leave the church the way it was when you came in. You're like, who tissue is it? So you got to go get, you cleaning up, sweeping up. You're like, really? Y'all, why y'all do this? You hate to stop the choir rehearsal and say, everybody, look around, pick up whatever's around you. So you lead choir rehearsal and do all that kind of stuff. It's like that. Salesman, motivator. People, you got to motivate the folks to sing. Sometimes you do. Sometimes before choir rehearsal, you see the faces when they come in. And you like, oh my God. You all chipper and, who said that? Gum wrappers in church. That's true. I found all kinds of stuff. But anyway, you have to motivate them because you come to choir rehearsal and you all excited. And then you walk in and you see all these long faces. And you had one song to sing, and then you sitting there like, well, maybe not. Let me go find something else to sing. You got to sing Nearer, My God, to Thee. And, Tasha Cobbs, There's Power. In the name of Jesus. You really do. And sometimes in choir rehearsal, sometimes you have to give like a mini sermon. You have to crack open the Bible and eat 23rd Psalms. You got to go, God is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he got to repent. I'm telling you, you break out, you almost you spend like half the choir rehearsal motivating folks to sing. You're like, well, Jesus, I can't even get to the song now I got to go back to the repertoire and get something old that we may not have sang in 2 months because I didn't wore myself out trying to get you up to the point where you halfway in tune. That's part of your job. Colleague, technician. I can't tell you how many times I had to fix the mics, adjust the mics, fix the mics, learn how to work the mics. You sitting there like, wait a minute, hold up, that ain't my job. That's audio visual. But no, as a director, you need to know how to, you need you to back up sound engineer. So many, Aaron, you are so absolutely right. So many real world applications in being a choir. It is. And that's what I'm trying to educate people. So when you see a choir director up front, that's just that part of it. It's so much more that goes behind that. You a manager. You got to manage the people. I can't tell you. Before an event, I can't, I had to train my choir. 1 hour, if it's appreciation or we're having a musical or we're going somewhere to sing or whatever, I have trained them. 1 hour before the event, don't talk to me. Do not come telling me you got to run, you got to go to the store, because if you don't make it back, don't even march up to the choir stand. I don't even want to see you. Don't come telling me, this happened and my stomach hurt, and, I'm telling you, they will come to you with that kind of stuff. And you sitting there looking at me. I'm sitting there looking like, well, what you expect me to do? This is an hour before the event. And I tell them, I said, what, don't even come to me with that. If you're a lady and you know what colors we wear, have you back up everything sitting up in there. Have your stuff ready. So if you get a run, you already prepped. Go in the back. Because I had them coming to me. Oh, this happened to me, and my thing hurt. It busted loose, and this is what I'm doing. An hour before the event, I had to train them. Don't even talk to me for an hour before. Don't talk to me because I'm not listening. I don't need you to get me upset. You're managing people. You're managing their time. Well, how much time do I have before I need to go to the choir stand? Well, how much time do I have before? And you sitting there looking like, wait. But yet and still, no matter how many questions they ask, no matter how much they do, you still got to have the right attitude. You still got to be right. You still got to be, you got to be sweet. You got to be kind. You got to push all your stuff aside. This is all part of it. Being a facilitator. That's part of it. Seriously, sometimes you call, what? One thing they don't realize is we're always the ones that you call on when nothing else is going on. You know what I'm saying? If something happened, if a disruption happened in the service, we're going to call the choir to sing. And you sit there like, wait a minute. Oh, what? You're the impromptu person, so you always got to be ready with a song. If it kind of works out if you the musician, chances are you playing something anyway. If there's a break in the service, it's your job to come up with a song or tell the musicians, play this song softly while the pastor trying to find a scripture. Play this song while they talking over here. You always got to be ready. A facilitate. And sometimes they even get up and tell you, go up there and do testimony service. Testimony service, what? I'm doing. And then they tell you, be ye also ready. And that affects your work. Yes, it does. Because it is so much that you need to be prepared for. And a lot of people don't realize, as a choir director, you can't be involved in so many different things before Sunday. Saturday night, you got to shut down. And, unless you're going to a concert. Now, I've learned how to separate the two. I can go to a concert and still be prepped and ready. I know how to just block stuff out and be like, okay, whatever. And then I go on and do what I got to do. But at Saturday night, it's really shut down time, trying to get my mind together so that I can do the things that I need to do the next day. Because just because I practice on a song, I practice on 4 or 5 songs, and I say, this is what we're doing. But the only thing that won't change Sunday morning is what I told you to wear. If I say wear red and black, that's gonna be whatever it is. But every other song, every other whatever I told you to do may not necessarily happen because my spirit needs to be free to go with the flow. And a lot of people, you cannot be robotic when you're a director. You can't be like, well, this is what we're doing. Even this past Sunday, I had our church anniversary. It was this past Sunday. I have rehearsed on songs, and I had them together. I had them already ready. We rehearsed them, but you know what? When we got up there, the way things shifted in the service, and there was some mishaps among the members, I knew one of the songs that I had planned, I couldn't do because the spirit wasn't right. And if I had forced and said, well, this is what I practiced on, we've been practicing on this, if I had forced it, we would have fell down flat on our faces. It would have been a disaster. But in my spirit, I said, okay, I'm looking at what's going on. I'm like, let me just pull something out the back that we haven't sang in about 4 months and saying that everybody kind of get with it. They know it. You have to be at that point where you can facilitate whatever's going on. You can change. You have to be flexible. And a lot of people, it's hard for some people to do that. Because I know we hate a lot of change. You like to nail down as many things as you can and keep them consistent. But everything cannot be consistent. And I try to convey that message to everybody. You got to be able to adapt to the change. Whatever the flow of the spirit is, you got to go with that. And it's hard for some people, but once you get adjusted to that mindset or get acclimated to the job, then it becomes a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a strategic war you fighting. It is, in a sense, you're fighting principalities and stuff, but you're not warring against yourself. Once you understand what your role is, what your dominant role is, and then what your subliminal role is. And that's where a lot of people have the mix up at. Librarian, you need to know the past. You need to know all of the things that went on in the past. Hey, Lady Cheerleading, you need to know everything that happened in the past, songs, the hymns. There's so many things you need to know. Even when I'm teaching some of the hymns that I teach, the choir to sing, or I may sing in church, I have to give the history. Hey, author, I need to give the history of why how this song came about. We need to know history. We're like a historian. We need to know how this hymn came about. Because a lot of times you singing a song, if I sing a hymn now, like, as the deer panted. Now, if I sing that in my church, some of them remember it, but a lot of people sit there and look at me like, Why? What is that? Sing something we know. At the cross, where I first saw the light and the burdens of my heart roll away. Okay? Sharita said, say that, be able to adapt and follow the flow of the Spirit. And you got to spend time with God to know where he's going. Yes, you do, Hatcher. You really do. That's number one. That should be understood. But sometimes stuff is not that plain. But you do. You need to understand how that hymn came about. Because sometimes, I may sing it and people are like, I never heard that. But then now I got to go to give you a part-time history lesson as to how that song came about, who wrote it, when they wrote it, what was the circumstances around them writing it. And then people can understand, pretty much, oh, well, sing that song again. I kind of like that now. Okay. But you do need to understand music, the history of things, so that when people have questions, you won't be standing there like a deer in the headlight. All the time it's not proper to do Google in church. Somebody say, I don't understand. You Google it. Some things you need to commit to memory to make the job easier. Let me go. Cheerleader. Okay, I'll get to that question in a second, TW. Cheerleader. You see them do it all the time. Like when a soloist is singing, sing, girl. You doing it. Sing it. And you sitting there going, Lord, they missing notes. That is not the note right there. They missing. They not in E or D. They somewhere in between, and it's not E flat and it's not D sharp. I don't know where that note is. They like hitting two at the same time, but you're hollering at them trying to, and I look at them and I said, sing on top of the note. I know that's not the proper musical terminology because you should have perfect pitch, but I have to tell my choir, no. Sing on top of the note. Sing on top of the note. Get up there and sing on top of the note. And they look at me like, sing on top. In other words, aim higher. We're singing in the key of E. Aim for the key of F. Because your pitch is off anyway. You like a half step below. Where we're trying to. So I tell them to sing the key of F, which they actually in their mind, they think they sing in F, but they're really singing E, and you, boom, you got it. You have to learn your choir and be able to tell them what they need to do in regular English so that they understand. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to make this Neolithic or kind of whatever, but it is true. I have different people in my choir. I have one that has perfect pitch. She can sing, bam. But the rest of them, I got to try to interpret music to a language that they understand. That's all part of it. You can't use a standardized format when you're talking to people because everybody's understanding is different. And it's stressful because you sitting there going, how many times I got to do this? It's stressful. But you have to learn, when you love people and you love what you do, you'll find a way to communicate to them. And you know what? Once they understand what you're trying to say, they will render the most beautiful music. And everybody's sitting there like, are they professionals? No, dear. They are not professionals. I only got one. That's okay. But you can get a beautiful sound. Hey, Allison, that's my cuz, y'all. You can get such a beautiful sound out of them. Mediator. A lot of choir directors can say that. Sometimes you are a mediator between directors. You're a mediator between the director and musicians. You're a mediator between two choir members, section leaders. A mediator is a tough job because you have to maintain your own composure as well as trying to pull everybody else in. It's like, really, it's not that serious, y'all. Just bring it in. Come on now. You really don't have to do that. But, so that means you have to be at a state of peace. You have to be at a state of awareness with God. You have to have a relationship with the Lord in order to maintain a certain level so that you can deal with somebody else's out of order. Because I don't care. People are people. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but people are people. I don't care if they're in the church. People are people. And sometimes they have their moments. And sometimes they have good days and they have bad days. That's just people. So you have to have as leader of the group, you have to have a calm. You have to be consistent. You have to have a level of calmness. You have to have a relationship with the Lord, because I can declare you'll go off right with Him, because first of all, you disturbing my rehearsal. And if anybody's going to disturb my rehearsal, I'm going to disturb my own rehearsal, because you will come in with that mindset. And, because you have your own trials and your own things that you're doing, and you're trying to maintain it. Most of our rehearsals are only 45 minutes to an hour. So you don't really have time for disruptions. So, and that's part of the job. It's your job to keep order in the place. So you have to be at a certain level, because everybody else is coming in. Some of them coming from work, they had a bad day. Some of them, got problems. You got all kinds of issues coming in and out, and folks, there's all kinds of stuff. So you as the leader have to have a calm spirit, and you have to have a relationship with the Lord, that He can let you foresee something before it even gets started. You know how to diffuse it. Sometimes He'll give you a song and tell you, no, don't do that song, do this one. And it calms the spirit of the people. It brings in a spirit of worship, a spirit of peace, and that's why we have to learn all kinds of music. I know a lot of times everything cannot be hand clap, foot stomp, where we working up a sweat. You can't do that. Sometimes you have to sing a praise and worship song from Hillsong or from Tasha Cobbs or for somebody. Sometimes you might have to go over in the Caribbean and bring some over and bring, whatever it takes. There is a song that can be used to bring in the people. Treasurer, we all know sometimes you have to keep the money, because some people got sticky fingers, so you got to do it yourself. Travel agent, that's a shame, but when we have to go places and sing, you got to make sure everybody got a ride, because somebody, some of my choir members gonna see this video and they're gonna laugh. But I hate taking engagements like to the far south side or something, because I got people that don't drive on the expressway. And the only way to get there the same day is you have to drive on the expressway. And they looking at me like, well, I don't drive on the expressway. So really, I got to try to figure out how to get you out there. Sometimes I pack them up in my car. Sometimes, one of them, they all pack. I got to figure out how you going to get where you going. Well, so-and-so's car is packed, so how I'm going to get there? You like, really? That's part of the job, y'all. Let me keep it. I don't want to depress you, but that's part of the job. Being a nurse, and a dietitian. Demetria Pitts, Lady of Wisdom, I'm sure you know about this one. But I don't know how many times between services that I have to tell the choir members, don't eat all that food. Do not stuff yourself with all that dressing, meatballs, spaghetti. You have to tell them, because, and I reiterated, certain foods you cannot eat. You need to invest in a salad, because if you eat all that heavy food, sopranos are not going to sing soprano. Altos will sing tenor, and tenors will be bass, and you won't be able to hit those notes. You hear them screeching because you've eaten the wrong thing. If you got an engagement or you have somewhere to go, I know when the choir, I do it all the time specifically, but when we sang for How Sweet the Sound, we've been in a lot of competitions, but How Sweet the Sound was the only one that fed you. So they set out a feast. They had everything buffet. And I specifically told my choir members, I said, do not go in there eating all that food. I didn't eat anything, because I knew the stress was on me to direct, to lead, to sing, because the person that was supposed to lead the song backed out at the last minute. So I had to lead the song. I'm like, dear Lord Jesus. So, I was like on 15. I was like, oh my God. So I couldn't eat. And I told all of them, do not eat. So they fed everybody. Everybody ate. All the other choirs, it was 10 of us, all of them ate all that food. And I came and I found my choir members, and I was like, y'all need to get out of here. Put that chicken down and get back in that room. What are you doing? Well, they took us in here to eat. I'm like, silly, really? You never eat heavy food and you know you got to sing. You know, you have to tell them. So you're like a nurse and a dietitian. You got to tell people. Because I declare they have a selective amnesia. They don't remember stuff. They don't remember. And you say like, didn't I tell you this? How many times I have to tell you? And you know, and in that process, you have to pull yourself in to keep from getting aggravated because I know I done told you this. We just went somewhere and sang 2 weeks ago. I got to tell you again. That's part of your job. You got to remind them. Demetri Pitts said, yes, ma'am. Do not eat fried foods, dairy, please, cornbread. And that says, yes, we were always taught to watch what we eat before singing. So as a choir director, you got to remind them. Because some people going to forget. They're going to sit down, well, I ain't it. No. Water, salad. That's all you need. Until we get through singing, then you can go do what you want to do. Because I'm not with you. But you know, whatever. But until that time, that's part of the job. I hope I'm helping. I hope I'm helping and not depressing. But it's really part of what you have to do. And I got a couple of questions that I need to get back to. But yeah, dietitian, driver already said that. Historian already said that. Counselor and therapist. Oh my God. Being a leader over the music ministry, it's an emotional art anyway. Okay. So, you know, sometimes the choir members are not able to really separate the emotions like they should. A lot of people don't know how to compartmentalize. So, you know, they bring their emotions with you. Hey, Ella McGee, they bring their emotions with them. So, and a lot of times you have them, they stop and they tell you, hey, Calvin, they stop and they tell you, they say, I need to talk to you. And you sitting there looking like, really? And they like, you know, because a lot of times you know, before the service, like I said, you have to be a motivator before they even get started. So you sitting there like, oh my God. So by the time you get through giving them the word, breaking out the Holy Bible and you giving them the word and, you know, everybody's up in praise. And then you got somebody come back and they tell you that, you know, I want to talk to you. I really got this issue and this problem. And you sitting there looking like, I'm not the pastor. I'm not the first lady. I might be a missionary, but you know, they want to talk to you because you're a leader. So that's part of it. And you have to be prepared to minister to people. And sometimes they do come to you with questions. I know they come to me and and you have to talk to them. Demetri Pitts said, oh, and with some you need to remind them of their hygiene. Yeah, yes, hygiene, uniform, you know. That's another thing. I had posted a video the other day. It offended some people, but that's another show. Another director was asking me to talk about uniforms, hygiene, and all this. That's another show. I'm going to do that, but that's true. You need to do that. But you are, in essence, they lean on you, you know, especially when your choir has confidence in you. Even though my group is kind of small, they're growing, but they're small. They have enough confidence in me in whatever I say that they know that I live what I say, but they also have confidence in performing. You know, some other people can direct them. They don't do so well because they kind of like, you know, but they know that when I do it, you know, I'm not afraid to correct you if you're wrong. If you out of tune, I'm just going to look at you and say, get up, you out. You know, I don't have a problem making faces. Anybody that from the jurisdiction or my district, no, I will make faces. I will, you know, whatever. And people laugh. But that's just me. That's my way. And they know I'm going to do what's necessary to help them out. So, I mean, being a therapist is part of the job. We don't really like that because, you know, kind of you want to go in, you want to do like a storm, come in and do your thing, and then you leave. But as a leader, you have an impact on people. And as you leading them, even though it's music, they trust you. There's a level of trust that they have with you. And they depend on you. They value your opinion, not only for music, but in their personal lives. They value your opinion. They, you know, I mean, I have all kinds of questions. You know, like she said, hygiene. I have people, you know, I'm sitting there like, they asking me, well, how does this look? Do these colors match up? How does this look together? I'm like, I am not your fashion guru. But they value my opinion, so then I had to, I'm like, okay. I had to give them my opinion on what I think. I had a question up here somewhere. Who is it? TW? Yep. Okay, it said, what advice do you have for young choir directors and musicians? The biggest thing I would suggest is to find a mentor. Don't try to navigate this on your own. Just like you in your profession, whatever your profession is, you have industry. Ella McGee says the key word in music ministry is ministry. Yes, it is. It's exactly right. For young directors and young musicians, I strenuously suggest that you get a mentor, a good mentor, one that is, don't look for somebody that is just all flash, they can hit all these different chords, because that's not necessarily the person that can mentor you. You need to be mentored in other areas besides music. Okay, because this person, if you get a mentor, I have mentors, even though I may be award winning or whatever, but I have mentors that I talk to and I look up to, not so much because of their skills, but because of their spiritual maturity. Because then they can tell me things to help me along the way. We don't want to pick somebody just because they're popular. That doesn't mean that their spiritual condition is good. They can't help you. You need somebody that's mature. A lot of times people always say this, oh, nobody's perfect. And what? No, we are not perfect. Let me just, we're in this flesh. Nobody is perfect in this flesh. If you're talking perfect as in no mistakes, no flaws, no, nobody is perfect. But if we look at that word in the Greek, it means mature. There are mature people walking around in the church, not necessarily somebody that's popular. It may be a little church mother in the corner, or it could be an older deacon. You need somebody that's spiritually mature that can guide you and tell you how to deal with people, tell you how to impart the word of God in your life. Because as the word of God gets in you, it comes out in your gift. That's how you become anointed. You don't become anointed because you can play the keys, you can run all over the place. No, trials, tribulations, inputting of the word manifested in your life, that gives you anointing. Your life, the way you live, the way you pursue God, that gives you an anointing. That sets you apart from everybody else. I will tell you, I am not the best musician. I can play. Now I can play, and I've had some musicians to hear me and tell me that I can do. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm okay, but I can play. But you know what sets me apart from everybody else is the time that I spend with the Lord, the time that I devote. Actually, what you talking about? The time that I devote. But my mentors that I selected were put in my life by God, who inspired me to do the right things, inspired me and showed me a better way to do things. They teach me not to go the way that they went. The mistakes that they made, this is how you can get around that. You don't need to, let's not be Neolithic in our thinking where we have to discover America for ourselves. If somebody already discovered America, if somebody already coming up with a rubberized tire, why I need to go back to the Stone Age and cut the stone and all it with a stick in the stone? Why would I do that? Get with someone that is mature, who's not about propaganda, who is not about being seen, being known, who is really about the ministry. Oh, Lord. I have to put my Cash App when I get through. You all can give me your little $5 or whatever you want to give me. But you really need to do that. And that's my advice to anybody that is a young person, even if you're gifted. You need someone who, there's a proverb that my father taught me, and it says, a young man standing up, and this is not a pin on men, but a young man standing up sees nothing, but an old man sitting down sees everything. There is a global vision out there in the world of music. Most young people can't see it because they get caught up in the talent. Oh, I got to do this, and I got to be blah, 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 blah. That's wonderful. But there's a whole nother level of understanding and wisdom that you need to keep you while you learning all of this. Keep you in your ways so that you will have a testimony when you get up. Everybody doesn't have to fall down. Okay? But a lot of times we fall down because we don't want to listen. We want to do it our own way. We want to make our own waves. I learned early. I bumped my head quite a few times as a young person, and I learned quickly, well, look, I don't have to do all of this. I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks real quick because I was just like, I ain't got time for this. There's an easier way to get through this world. That's what I want to stress to the young people. So that's the TW. That's the answer to your question. I think I went around the world and came all the way back to the Midwest. But I definitely would encourage young people, get you a mentor, somebody who is mature and knows the Word of God and knows something about life that can steer you in the right direction and not lead you around the path. A person that has your life and has your soul at heart. They don't want to see you mess up. They don't want to see you going the wrong way. They don't want to see you wasting time. Because if you try to travel this road without somebody, you'll get swallowed up in the music industry and you will get disgusted. And that gift that God gave you that should be used on a grand global scale will never reach there. Okay, it's impossible for us to learn to know everything. That's why we have books. That's why we have YouTube. That's why we have this academy. We have so many different means of learning things so that we can grow and develop. Because every time the directors that I learned from, my mom and my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and all of those in between, I'm standing on them. So a lot of things that I didn't have to really deal with because I stood on their shoulders. They taught me the ins and outs from what they learned. And then I attached that and incorporated that with what I learned. So then like my niece is coming along, I'm teaching her. She's learning a wealth of information from me and all of the other little children in my church. They all want to be directors. They all watch these shows and they're learning as well. So I'm teaching and imparting to them. Don't do like me. You don't have to go that route. Okay? That's what I want. That's what I would suggest. TW, I hope that helps you out. Somebody else had a question. Somebody else had a question. I know it was here somewhere. Oh, Hatcher Roy said, how do you decompress after that type of rehearsal? I think you were talking about when I have to minister. I think that's what you were talking about. When I had to minister before I get into the actual rehearsal. Or I don't know which one you're talking about. Or if you're talking about when I have a escalated issue in rehearsal, how do I decompress? Well, if I'm motivating people to do the rehearsal and get everybody all fired up, well, basically, I just have to, I'm on 15. I usually just let it wear itself out if it's a good thing. If it's a case where I had a disruption in the rehearsal, then I tend to stay later. I let everybody leave, or I wait till everybody leave and I go home. And generally, I get on my instrument or I pray. I may pray first, and then I'll get on my instrument and just play some songs, play some hymns, play some praise and worship. And then I might end up on a fast, churchy song. I'm talking a hard teaching parts, rehearsal. Okay. Basically, that's what I do. I usually get on the organ and just play. Whatever that's just me. I get on the organ and I play whatever I intended to play. And it's usually, I'll start with that song and then I'll end up on a praise song, something that's soothing. That always, I have a list of songs that I go through, that I play. There's something about that name. Praise him. Something just slow, something that's kind of like soothing to the spirit at the cross, as the deer panteth. Sometimes praise God from whom all blessings flow. Just something to just, run up and down the keys. I don't care how many mistakes I make. It was just something to just bring it in a little bit. Just slow me down and bring me down. I start with a felt down in my... see now, you felt that in your spirit? That's a cappella. I ain't got... He, all right, Elder McGee. But yeah, that's what I do, Hatcher. I usually just take a song after I quote, Lord, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? You know, I got some favorite scriptures that I just kind of throw out there. And then I start to play my instrument and just mellow out. Start with a fast song, whatever the song was I was trying to play. And then I progressively go to a slower, more hymnal type song. Yeah, that's generally what I do. I just kind of play myself into a melancholy, slow paced state. And then pretty much I'm done after that, you know, because it's like my form of debriefing. Because while I'm playing, I'm thinking about everything that happened. I'm rehearsing everything. And, you know, even in that, I'm kind of thinking like, Lord, what could I have done better? You know, I know I saw it coming, but should I have done this way? Enlighten me so that the next time I see, you know, enlighten me on a better way to teach these parts, or enlighten me on a better way to, you know, de-escalate a situation, or enlighten me on a better, you know, when I'm playing, that's kind of like when the Spirit is speaking to me and he starts dropping nuggets in my spirit, and then I know how to handle the next situation. Because, I mean, even some of the choir members that were in my choir when I first started out, and they see me now and they're like, she is a totally different person from when she started. You know, well, I was a young person. I didn't really know what was going on. But I learned how not to let whatever went on in rehearsals affect what I do. You know, and I've learned that through all of these different things that I went through, you know, all these different positions and things, titles that we have, hats that we wear. I had to learn, you know, but my main thing is, you know, I had to learn that people are people. Sometimes we put a higher expectation on church people or saints or whatever, but we do. We put you think, okay, we all in church, you know, but I had to learn that it's not always that way. You know, everybody is not on the same spiritual level as you are. You know, God deals with you. He gives you discernment. He gives you peace. He gives you joy. He gives you understanding. So you have to understand that a lot of people, and I hate to use that same word in the same sentence, you know, I'm thinking about childhood English, but everybody's not on that same level, so you can't have the same approach. And when you're talking, because they're on different levels, when you're talking to them, they understand, they interpret things differently. Sometimes I do that sound off in when I was in ROTC. They used to tell us sound, you know, do the sound off, and the officer whisper something in my ear, and I turn to the next person and say, if the word was, go get it, you know, go get it, go get it, go get it. By the time you get down to the end person, it's like, did you get it? That is not what was said. So sometimes in choir rehearsal, I do sound off. If I give instruction and I tell them to repeat it back to me, sometimes they sit there and that is not what I said. You know, and they tell me, well, what you said, and you sitting there going, that is not what I said. No wonder y'all sound bad. That is not what I said. You know, and so then I got to reiterate it, and then I got to try to explain it. And that's what I mentioned to you earlier about each person interprets things differently, and you kind of have to learn their language. Like people talk about different folks' love language. There's a different music language for each person, especially if they're not all professionals. They don't know the language of music, the terminology and everything, or how, you know, instead of saying pianissimo, you know, I got to do soft. You know, bring, you know, I got to use, and then they're like, oh, that's what you're talking about. You know, so, I mean, it's not complicated because it's innate in me. And a lot of things I don't realize I do until you all send suggestions to me. And then I'm thinking, because sometimes I run out of things, in my mind, I'm running out of things to talk about. But then when you all send me suggestions and questions, then I remember, oh, wow, you know, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that's how I handle that. That's how I debrief or decompress. Okay? You know what, you all, I think I've been on here long enough, and I hope I said something to encourage each and every you, or just to enlighten you, or to, you know, give you that boost to know that, you know, somebody understands what you're going through. Because you're not out here by yourself. It looks like it. There are days I feel like I'm out here by myself until I run into one of my mentors, or I go to a concert and I run into like the director, and then they say, girl, you was talking on that video and I blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh God, you know, I'm like, oh, good, somebody understands, you know. So, I mean, I just hope that I said something to encourage you, even whether it was musical or whether it wasn't. Hatcher, you've been here all the time. Stop playing. Thanks, Denise. To encourage you and inspire, and share this video so that other people, because there are a lot of people that don't know about this. They're struggling and they don't know that there's actually an academy out there. I actually got some requests to go out of town to have a little workshops in other cities. So, I'm trying to work these things around because this is my first love. I love sharing information, but also if I go to somewhere else, I got to share it too. So y'all pray for a sister. Things are moving so fast and I'm trying to keep up with it. So pray for a sister. Keep me in your prayers. Keep those suggestions coming. Oh, no, I don't sing a song. I don't have my keyboard here, Elder Kevin. My name is not Sir Walter Jones. I do not play. I only give instruction. Yeah, I know. You still. Oh, yeah. October. I'm supposed to be with you in October one day. Any day but the 27th. I can't do it. But any other Saturday, I'm free. That's right. So you all Elder Kevin McGee has a radio show, and I will be one of his guests. I'm supposed to be in October. That's what I told you. But, yeah, I will do it in October, any Saturday but October 27th. I have 2 engagements on that day. So any day, any Saturday but that one. But anyway, everybody, I thank you so much for joining in. Beatrice, I see you. Kevin, I see you. Ellie McGee. And Ned, I see you. Hatcher Roy. Okay, Hatcher Roy, just let me know. Give me advance notice so I can so I can be there. Oh, and so many of you all. That Calvin was on here. Patrice, my childhood friend, was on here. Denise. Watson, thank you so much. Aaron Simpson. Lady of Wisdom, Demetria Pitts. Who else? Sharita Takeman, thank you so much. Annette, thank you so much. Allison, my cousin, thank you. Lady Geraldine Smith. T.W. Chriswell, thank you. Arthur was on here. Thank you so very much. Aaron Simpson, I think I called Shanita, my cousin, Leigh Purnell. Thank you so much for being Melissa, Lady Darnice. Thank you. And of course, my friend Di Mayberry. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Like, share this video, YouTube, subscribe. Thank you all so very much. And I really appreciate you all being here because that make me feel good. I've been out for 2 weeks, and then to see all of you here, that lets me know that I'm doing something. Thank you, Beatrice. That's my Texas friend, Miss Texas. Thank you. Check your wall. Oh, okay. Thank you. I will. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you so very much. And keep me in your prayers. Pray for me as I continue on this journey. You all have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Denise, for tuning in, being here with me. And God bless you. And as I always say, peace.